record now? Hi, and welcome to this stupid, weird podcast thing that I'm doing out of nowhere for fun, I guess. I have with me my good friend Walker.
How's it going?
A.k.a. Necroncel. And we're going to discuss the nerdiest things that we really know of. We're gonna do a couple topics. I don't know which order we're gonna go in, but we're gonna go over Warhammer, we're gonna go over Star Wars, we're gonna go over Call of Duty Zombies, specifically the zombie side, Yu-Gi-Oh, and make a weird semi-podcast based off of weird topics that we already know of immensely. And we're going to be taking turns, and maybe for Warhammer specifically, I'm going to be the only one who really doesn't know jack shit about Warhammer, but everyone else is going to know at least a good metric fuck ton of knowledge on Warhammer. And we're probably going to have to wait till like Tuesday-ish or maybe Thursday, depending on when RJ gets home, to do that. And that's kind of the plan here.
Yeah, that's about it.
So Walker, which one do you want to start with? Do you want to do one we both know a lot, or do you want to do one with like zero information for everybody? Or
I feel like we should do something we know both. So let's talk a bit about Star Wars.
Okay, let's do Star Wars then. Let me close the door. Should we start with Old Republic shit, or should we do like how since
how
you're the resident
common knowledge that most people should know, the Empire.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up some images. Fuck it. First of all, you should know. Oof, Dax, I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Dax.
Are you though?
I opened up the Chrome thing. Hey, the plans got changed till Friday for Dax coming home.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. I opened up Dax's Chrome and it immediately opened up the porn.
Wow.
Yeah, that's recorded. I don't really care if I get demonetized. It's not really a big deal to me. But hey, I think there is porn. Yeah, and like on one of his most recent searches, god damn it, Dax Futanari, really? Okay, Star Wars people. All right, so I didn't mean that. Obviously, oh wow, the first image. All right, god damn you. All right, you should know, I guess, basically some people like Rey, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Luke, Anakin, Palpatine. Those are like the main important. Like I guess, Kylo Ren. Those are probably the most important people. Would you say, Walker?
Yeah. Right.
Other than that,
maybe Tarkin.
So you're gonna have to explain to me with everything with Tarkin. But that's your part there. So a long time ago, in a galaxy far away, I guess episode 1 starts with Naboo is under attack. Actually, no, it's not under attack. It's under a siege, I think. Right?
It kind of.
Does a siege count as an attack?
Not really.
Yeah, because I thought that's what I thought. I thought a siege is like a strategy, just a plan to like make sure somebody.
I mean, it's just a blockade to keep them from getting help.
Exactly. So Naboo is under attack. Qui-Gon, Jinn, and Obi-Wan thought they could talk the Federation to maybe cutting them a little slack. Their response, it really didn't thrill them. They locked the doors and tried to kill them. They escaped from Bad Gas, met Jar Jar and Boss Mass. And then what happens then? I was referencing the fucking song literally until that point from fucking Weird Al.
That is a little upsetting, especially from you.
I like Weird Al, so sorry.
I get that, but still, come on.
It's not bad. It's not a bad song. Let's. Oh yeah, and the first villain of the real like antagonistic kind of force, I guess you could say, is Darth Maul, kind of. At least for the first episode, other than the Separatists. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a civil war going on, so the Separatists are fighting for something. What are they fighting for, Walker?
They're pretty much fighting because, well, the fight hasn't really started yet, but the whole CIS started because they didn't like what the Republic was doing.
Okay, but what did they not like?
The whole CIS was mostly in the Outer Rim, where the Republic doesn't really like to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
So they felt neglected, and the CIS want full galactic peace, and they want to have everyone treated fairly. While the Republic was, the more closer to the inner core, the more respect you get. Further out, the more screw you guys.
So you're telling me that. So they weren't actually. I thought all this time they just wanted
actually the bad guys. It was just they wanted peace and respect.
Is it because they were like?
It's because they were feeling neglected.
Okay.
Essentially.
That's a weird. I didn't know that. I legit didn't know why they were fighting in the first place at fucking all. I thought they were just like, oh, we want to take over the thing. That's why we joined the Sith. That's basically.
They didn't really join the Sith. The Sith kind of joined them because the Republic obviously had the Jedi, and the Sith don't like the Jedi.
Right.
Duh. And they're like, hey, what better way to fight the Jedi than join the CIS?
Okay. So just the Sith had more power that way, technically, then?
Pretty much.
And technically, does that not even really happen? Like, when does the Sith actually join the CIS? Is it when Count Dooku?
It's pretty much when the Clone Wars starts, which is in episode 2.
Oh, and we're still fucking behind. We're not even there yet.
No, we're not even there yet.
So they're just starting to fight, I guess, in episode 1.
It's more of a preemptive fight because it wasn't the CIS yet, but the Cato Neimoidians wanted something from Naboo, and Naboo didn't want to give it up.
Okay. Then. Okay. Shit, I'm still very confused.
Understandable.
I didn't know that. I'm just lost on the fact that I thought the CIS were just scumbags. That was kind of it.
I mean, kind of.
Okay. Well, then, fuck it. Let's just cover the main thing that actually happens in episode 1, because I really don't fucking know anything about it.
Yes, the pod race.
God damn it. So, okay. Then, in reality, I'm just gonna say what I think happened, and then you should correct me, because you clearly know more about Star Wars. And then throw in details that you think are, like, important about it. So,
That's fine.
From what I remember, hey, buddy, of episode... You're free. Don't even. Fuck. So, the main things that happen are... Naboo's under siege. Siege needs to be ended, so the Jedi step in to try and help Naboo. That doesn't work out, so they end up crashing on Naboo. They meet Jar Jar because he's just wandering through the forest, but almost gets destroyed by this weird flying droid thing on a scooter. I think it was. It was a weird... No,
not a scooter. It was a thing called an MTT, a multi-troop transport for the droids.
Okay, but doesn't it... Oh, right. And then the scooter
droid carrier, but for ground-based assault.
But then the scooter droid comes in, tries to blast the shit out of them, and then yes. Qui-Gon Jinn's just like, hee-yaw, laser.
Your existence.
Never. So the droid carrier ship is about to run over Jar Jar. Jar Jar gets saved by Liam Neeson, aka the best Jedi ever, in my opinion, Qui-Gon Jinn, who is the most, I think, the most balanced Jedi there is, where he uses both light and dark side. A lot of people might claim that could be Mace Windu because of his fighting style, but I think Qui-Gon Jinn embodied the will of the Force the most, so that's why I'm saying that. Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan, then Padawan, I think he might have been... Was he just a Padawan, or was he a knight yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it was still a Padawan Obi-Wan was.
Okay, yeah, I think he was still a Padawan too, because he gets promoted at the end of the movie to a knight and then can have a Padawan.
Right.
Right, okay. So, spoilers, I guess. So Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are stranded on this planet of Naboo, and the Nabooians, the Gungans specifically, are like, they're swimming, and they're like, we need vessel over to the main transport of Naboo, and then they're like, we don't want to, and then Qui-Gon's like, mind trick.
You will help us.
You will help us. And then he's like, I will help you. Mind tricks are stupid. So he gets on board with the ship, and he goes on, and there's always a bigger fish, you know?
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish. That's the main thing I really remember about the Gungan thing, is just the big fish about to eat them, and then a bigger fish. Which, shouldn't a bigger fish show up and eat that fish?
Yes.
Is that actually what happens? Or is that what should happen?
I believe so.
Okay. Neat. And then it just doesn't even matter with the Potter thing. And then they get to Naboo, the actual Naboo city, where the two main characters are, kind of, for the first 3 movies. And then one for 6 movies. One is Chancellor Palpatine, and he's not a chancellor yet. He's just a elected governmental official currently at the point of time in Naboo.
And where we're at right now has not happened yet.
Okay. Wait, so he's not...
In episode 1, he is a representative of Naboo.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, Plagueis hasn't gotten to him.
Plagueis
has gotten to him, but he hasn't committed the plan until episode 2.
Right.
Okay. So, main characters, Padme Amidala, who is the queen, the senator, and something else of Naboo. Somehow, all 3 things of Naboo. I think it's because she is queen that she gets to be the senator that represents the planet in the galactic system that they have, which, cool, sure, but it certainly confuses enough people on YouTube and everywhere else.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also Chancellor Palpatine, who is elected official also of Naboo somehow. Or, no, okay, so maybe she's queen of an... I don't get it. Maybe for the first episode that Palpatine is the elected official, and then he becomes Grand Chancellor Palpatine of the entire Senate and moves to Coruscant during episode 2. That's probably what happens. Okay. Anyway, they're like, we need ship thing, and then Padme's like, I want to come along, I think. I don't really remember what happens there, but then they get to fucking Tatooine, and then this is where good old boy Anakin shows up, and he loves pod racing. And pod racing is a street race. It's just that. It's more like NASCAR, kind of, but...
A lot faster and a lot deadlier.
Yeah, and no human can do pod racing. Ooh, but you see Anakin has these tiny organisms in him called midichlorians, which is, I think, one of the funniest parts of Star Wars, because everyone hates it, but I think it's funny, because it's not like, you do have to be, everyone has to be born with the Force, technically. But then you see people like Finn, eventually, who don't seem to have a connection to the Force at first, and then they do. They clearly fucking do, eventually, but they skip over that in episode 8. Fuck TLJ. Fuck TLJ. I hate that movie. Anyway,
we'll get to that later. Much later, if we even decide to get to it.
Let's cover maybe the first 3 movies here, I think.
That's fine.
And then they meet Anakin in pod racing. He's human, so he shouldn't be able to pod race, but he's building his pod racer anyway. And then they need a ship piece. I think it's like basically their engine.
The hyperdrive. They need something to repair the hyperdrive.
Yeah. And Guado, that's his name, right?
Yes. Guado.
Okay, Guado, a.k.a. the whipping master of slave boy Anakin and his mom, is like, I'll give you the slave parts, but you need to pay for them. And they're like, we don't have any money. And then they're like, okay, well then find a way to get money and then I'll give you the parts. And then he's like, okay, what about pod racing? And Qui-Gon Jinn then indulges in one of the best human traditions in history, a.k.a. gambling. Although it's really not gambling because I think it's rigged by the Force, but whatever.
He definitely rigged it.
He definitely rigged it.
Like, you actively see him doing it.
Oh, okay, no. I mean, like, aside from the dice scene, which is a little bit dumb, we'll let fate to see is essentially what they do. And he's like, I'll gamble, but I want the boy. And he's like, the boy and the part.
Boy, red, you get the mother.
Yeah, and then he changes it to the boy for blue, which is funny, because they choose red and blue, which is commonly represents Jedi and Sith. They did that intentionally. They could not have done that any other way. But yeah, he fucking cheats and shoves it to the good guy's side. Okay, and then that's basically it. So they allow Anakin to be gambled into the stakes for the parts and also for racing. Anakin wins pod racing because turns out he's the chosen one. Right? That's basically it. Oh, wait, doesn't Sebulba...
Yes, right before the race, Sebulba sabotages Anakin's pod racer.
Okay.
That doesn't happen till... Or it doesn't really take effect till right near the end. Where it's resolved anyway, because Anakin bullshit.
Right. And Anakin... Either way, Anakin wins the race, and he's abducted as a Padawan. Before all this... Or, no, the night they're about to leave, Bitch Tits Obi-Wan, the goddamn king of the Force. Not Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan's more like...
Obi-Wan's very unsure about this at the beginning.
Yeah. But Qui-Gon measures the midichlorian count of Anakin, and he has the highest midichlorian count in the known universe. Or like something abnormally high, at least.
The highest that's been seen for a good long while.
Yeah. Cut to, they get to Coruscant, which is the planet of, essentially, the core of their whole government.
The capital of the Galactic Republic.
Is essentially Washington, D.C. of America to
Pretty much.
Space. I don't know of any other country... I guess what would... England... I don't even know what England's capital thing is. Unless I'm being stupid, and England is it, but Britain is... I'm retarded, okay? Fuck it. That's why I used the DC analogy, because I knew it immediately. And so they get to the capital, essentially, and they're like, hey, we need to recruit this boy because he has the highest midichlorian count. He could be the chosen one. And if I could edit, this would be where the chosen one would be, like, flashing across the screen. But I can't edit, so fuck you. Yeah.
Doing that to us.
So the chosen one happens, and they're like, we can't recruit him because he's too old, and we only recruit little boys. And well, technically, they recruit any race of any age.
Essentially, infants is what they usually go for.
Yeah, they have to go for kids because it's inducting them into a cult, essentially, but it's a cult that's actually respect. It's like if Christianity
it's to make sure they don't grow any attachment to their family.
Yeah, so they could be pure light side or something, so that they don't... Fear leads to hatred. Hatred leads to suffering. Yeah, we'll get to that quote later, too. I'm going to fast forward a lot here. They essentially say, Anakin can't become a Jedi because he's too old, so he has too many attachments, so he's afraid people die and shit. And then they're like, no, I'm going to keep teaching him anyway. And then they're like, okay, but we can't have that. And he's like, well, I'm going to do it. Qui-Gon's like, fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway. And they're like, well, we can't really lose you, so I guess we kind of have to, let you do what you want. And then Obi-Wan just lays his dick on the fucking council and is like, fucking shut up and I'm doing what I want. And he gets his way, which could suck potentially for the future, I think. We'll find out. And then Naboo's under attack again, so they have to go back and save Naboo. Although they technically know who's attacking it, it's technically the Sith. Also, by the way, as they were leaving Tatooine, I kind of skipped this. Darth Maul jumped Anakin. Just fucking tried to murk him. He was like, nope, not happening. I'm going to kill you. And then Qui-Gon saved his ass, which was great. Qui-Gon's the best character in this movie, and he only exists for so little. I wish he was in all of them. I wish, it's just because they already made the first 4 movies, or the, 4 through 6.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, they already made 4, 5, and 6, so this is a prequel, so they couldn't let Qui-Gon live. So that's kind of the only reason that he had to die in this movie, which I guess he dies. Whatever. But yeah, Maul tries to jump him, Qui-Gon saves him, then they leave to Coruscant, and then that Jedi Council meeting happens, and then they're sent back to Naboo to help save it. I don't know why. It fucks up a little bit. They take on Darth Maul in the Duel of the Fates, which was like one of the best fight scenes for Star Wars ever. But
not that it's entirely important, but right before they fight, Anakin finds himself in the Naboo starfighter and is automatically forced into space.
First of all, that's a really important scene because Anakin's just immediately shown to be a Mary Sue or Gary Stu, I guess, of, oh yeah, I can fly fucking planes and shit, spacecraft that I've never fucking laid eyes on before immediately and know how to fucking do it. And he blows up a Luthor Hulk, which is this donut ass ship. It's a Luthor Hulk, right?
Yes, Luthor Hulk.
Which me and Walker agree are like one of the coolest ships in all of Star Wars. Oops.
It is one of my favorite, yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird donut thing, but it's really good. Don't diss the donut. So yeah, Anakin blows up one, thinks that spinning's a cool trick. You cut out there. Buddy? Walker. You cut out. Speak. Okay, try disconnecting and reconnecting. You haven't left, so I'm going to try this call. Yeah, we're going to try this.
Like this, I see.
Yeah, it's going to work a little bit better.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, yeah, Anakin spins to victory, and the day is saved for a bit. Sorry?
Spinning's a good...
Yeah. It sucks ass. They say Anakin saves the day in a major way because apparently none of the Naboo fighters really did any progress, and then Anakin shows up and is like, "Sup, bitches?" Spin, blows up a thing, and then leaves, and he's like, "I accidentally blew up a fucking space station. I'm, 10 years old?"
Yeah, around 10.
10 to 8? Yeah, it's fucking a little bit stupid. And in the meantime, it keeps cutting between that and then the rebellion of the Nabooians and then bitch tits McFucking, I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan fighting Darth Maul. And unfortunately, Darth Maul separates Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon due to a laser grid. And the laser grid breaks for a second, freeing Qui-Gon, but not Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan falls behind a bit and has to watch Qui-Gon get murdered by Darth Maul. And you might say, that makes Darth Maul one of the strongest fucking Sith in history, right? Because he kills the coolest fucker on the planet and Liam Neeson? You also cut out again. That kind of sucks. He said that he's not the strongest, but he's pretty strong. So he... Try to fix your mic while I'm...
It's not my mic, it's the internet.
Are you certain? Because you started talking
very
again.
certain, because you're also cutting out for me.
Okay. Damn, that really sucks. So then we're going to have to do this next time at... I'm going to be at my house, and you're going to be at yours, at this place.
Right.
Okay. So they... Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon. Very sad. Traumatic scene. Obi-Wan shouts no. And Obi-Wan breaks through in a fit of fucking rage, clearly, and tries to fight and duel Darth Maul. Not a great idea. Fucker.
Doesn't start off great. He almost falls down a reactor shaft. Loses his lightsaber because Darth Maul kicks it.
Mm-hmm.
He realizes that Qui-Gon's lightsaber is still up there. He senses it. Force jumps over Darth Maul, grabs the lightsaber with the Force, and just slices him in half.
Yeah. Which
Waist
is
down. He's gone.
Which is majorly important after the second movie, because there's a... I forgot about Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the TV show.
We'll get to that.
Do you want to just cover the movies and then go to the TV show eventually?
Maybe, because...
Okay.
Spoiler warning, Darth Maul's not in the next two movies.
Yeah, but he's also, somehow, after not being cut in half, or being cut in half, and then falling down a reactor shaft, isn't fucking dead. Sheer will and revenge wanting to kill Obi-Wan is what Walker said to Samai's, because he cut out again. Which is bonkers, right? It's fucking crazy. Because the dude has that big of a hate boner to not fucking die. That's a little bit fucking outrageous, honestly. So they... Okay, and then that's basically the end of episode 1, with Obi-Wan claiming to then become the Padawan, or the... He gets risen to a Jedi Knight because...
He becomes a Jedi Knight and then takes Anakin as a Padawan.
Yeah, but he kills the first Sith threat to them.
In about 100 years.
In about 100 years. And is like, that's it, dude. I'm fucking... He gets promoted to Jedi Knight from that and then takes Obi-Wan or Anakin as a Padawan. Which probably should not have been who he got as a Padawan or a teacher, but it's whatever. Episode 3 happened... Or 2, correction, happens. I actually, the main things I remember about 2 are literally the latter half. Other than, like, Anakin getting hired to protect... Anakin and Obi-Wan getting hired to protect Padme. Padme having assassination attempts.
No, it was Anakin and Obi-Wan at first, but then it just became Anakin because Obi-Wan had his own task to see who the first assassin was. Oh, which then he tracked... Which leads him to Kamino.
The second coolest part about this movie is Kamino, by the way.
Agreed.
And Kamino is the planet where all of these clones that were recruited by this Jedi, apparently, who's been dead for a long time, even before the record...
name was Sifo Dyas, by the way.
Yeah, Sifo Dyas. This dude who's been dead for a long time, and before even the clones were actually commissioned, I think, to be made. And the planet looks cool as shit. You get a montage of seeing these little fucking amoeba cells grow into a fucking clone. It's really cool, and all their training and shit. They have rapid aging so that they can be fully mature within like a couple months, and then hyper trained.
Also, keep in mind that Kamino is an entire water world. There is little to no land at all, and it's just constant storms.
It's still one of the coolest planets, though.
It is one of the coolest planets. literally the complete opposite of what Tatooine is.
Which is nothing but forest. Oh wait, no, that's nothing but sand.
Nothing but sand.
Right. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. That's where this is the movie where that line comes from, by the way. Just so you
were thinking of Kashyyyk. It's nothing but forest.
Yeah, Kashyyyk is just cool too. I like Kashyyyk.
I mean, Kashyyyk's a cool planet too, but that's for a different time.
Yeah. So Kamino is found to be the place where clones are recruited, and then they're like, actually, I don't know why Obi-Wan ends up on that bug planet anyway, which I forgot its name.
Geonosis.
Geonosis, thank you. That's such a cool name too, but it has to be given the worst.
I think he was. No, it's because he was at first attacked by Jango Fett, one of the coolest unofficial Mandalorians. Mandalorians don't really claim him, but he's still studied under them, and he's still a great fighter.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
When did that become canon?
That's been a thing. He was never exactly a Mandalorian, but because he still did the training, and I believe he stole Mandalorian armor. I don't exactly know.
That's weird. I don't remember that.
He also all of the clones are from Jango Fett, which the main template.
Which you would think is a horrible thing, right? Because he's paid to do anything. Meaning the clones, I would think, would be paid to be able to do anything too. But no, apparently the clones are super, ingrained loyal to the Jedi and shit. But only because, and technically this happens at the same time as Episode 2, but just unbeknownst to the Jedi. They get this weird brain chip placed inside their head.
They at first called it an inhibitor chip, but it's to do something a lot more.
Yeah, and the inhibitor chip is something that... It's a brainwashing device. I don't know what Walker said there. But Episode 3 has to deal with the chip. And then they end up on Geonosis because Obi-Wan tracks down Jango Fett to there somehow. And Anakin and Padme end up having this weird romance thing while he's being her bodyguard. And they both end up also at Geonosis. But they end up in a droid facility.
They were worried about Obi-Wan because he got attacked, and they wanted to go help him, even though they were told to stay put.
Right. And then they end up in the droid facility, and that's when the droids show up, and the droids actually become like a threat kind of thing. And through the droid threat, the Clone Wars technically then starts.
Now, first there was a Coliseum fight where they had Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan chained up to these giant stone pillars, where each beast, creature, alien from a different world was brought here just for the Geonosians' entertainment.
Right.
But then they kind of broke free. Then they got surrounded. Then there were Jedi all over the place. Then they got surrounded again because that's when the droids showed up. And then right before all the Jedi were about to be executed, this is where the clones come in and save the day.
Yeah. There's this weird... The fight is a rhino, this weird tiger thing with spider eyes, and
the weird, terrifying looking praying mantis.
It's more of a... It's like a spider mantis, dude. It's like
spider praying mantis combo.
Yeah, it's
that's also a carnivore.
It's one of the cool... It's like this... Also, did you notice it has crab legs, kind of?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird mix of a bunch of animals that terrify the shit out of me. Like, that is nightmare fuel incarnate right there.
I don't know where the rhino or the tiger thing comes from, but the spider, crab, praying mantis thing, I don't know its name, comes from a weird mushroom forest planet called Felucia. Or Felucia, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where Ayla Secura gets killed. Woo! For later. You know?
That's later. Spoilers, but yeah, later.
Yeah. It's not like anybody fucking knows who Ayla Secura is anyway. Like, I don't know what she fucking does. All I know is that she's a Jedi Knight. I think that's it. She's not even on the fucking council. I can name 6 people on the fucking council off the top of my head. Anakin?
Yes and no. You were on the council, but you're not a master. But that's on episode 3. We'll get to it.
It's so funny. Episode 3 and 2 are, I think, where all the memes really come from for Star Wars.
Oh, there are some in 1, but most of them are coming from 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Mostly 3.
Mostly, entirely 3. So then the second other than Colosseum, like the next fight also takes place on Geonosis. Turns out they were making these Death Stars on Geonosis, and then these weird gunships have to shoot.
They're not Death Stars per se. They're called core ships, which are the big round things for the Luthor Hulks, which are also gigantic carriers.
Oh, I thought they were supposed to be like pre-Death Stars.
No.
Oh.
They're just the command pods for the Luthor Hulks.
But weren't the Death Star plans on there?
Yes.
Okay.
The Death Star plans were on Geonosis.
Okay.
They were handed to Count Dooku to go take somewhere else, which does happen.
Yeah, okay.
He takes him to Palpatine, who is back on...
But then there's a fight before Count Dooku escapes, there's a fight between Obi-Wan, Anakin versus Count Dooku. And this scene I love the shit.
Obi-Wan lose, and then Yoda comes in and wins, but also loses.
Yeah.
Due to morality.
But I don't know, the dumb thing that made me love this movie so much when I was a kid was the fact that literally in like less than a third of the fucking movie, right, Anakin finally gets a green lightsaber, and that's what I loved the fucking most about this movie as a kid.
Right.
And I watched it again. Like, remember the last time we watched it here, and I just like passed out during the movie? I was like, oh shit, that movie was so boring. I didn't actually know. I feel bad.
Out of all of the movies, episode 2 is still probably the worst.
It has some of the coolest things in it, though.
It has some cool things in it, yes.
But
it is up there for being one of the worst Star Wars movies.
Right. Side note, also, Anakin gets his fucking hand just right off, right off in the middle of this. And then Yoda comes in and is like, I'm saving the day. Saves Anakin and Obi-Wan, but then Count Dooku gets away with a Death Star plan.
He gives Palpatine the plans.
Mm-hmm. And then episode 3 kind of happens.
I think it happens almost 3 years later. Probably 2 years and 8 months.
The annoying thing about 2 and technically 3 is that Star Wars episode 2 is called The Clone Wars, but it only shows you how it starts. And then episode 3
is the end of it.
And you get nothing in between for years.
Until
Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show.
Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show. But remember, back in 2002, I think it was, we had the hand-drawn, which was just called Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah, but that was right before episode 3 was released.
Yes, but it does show you the Clone Wars per se. And it ends up right where episode 3 picks up.
So for the TV show The Clone Wars aired October 3rd, 2008. And then the episode 3 movie took place in 2005. 3 full fucking years pass where you actually don't get to know anything important of what happens in between those 2 dates unless you read certain books, some comics, and yes, that cartoon that took place right before the movie for episode 3 released. But that cartoon showed so little of what actually matters and what is canon currently in it.
I don't think the old one is canon anymore due to
Disney. Yeah. Which the only things really canon in that cartoon are General Grievous, Ventress, Obi-Wan, and some of the other Jedi. But I think Shakti dies like 6 times in the
we actually
span.
Don't know what happens to Shakti.
Well, Shakti, in that cartoon, Shakti dies, and
we
then
don't know that actually.
No, they show her fucking dying.
We never see her die. That was off screen.
They show her get stabbed in that cartoon.
Was off screen.
Dude. It was not off screen.
What you're thinking of is a deleted scene from the movie.
No. I'm not even talking about Grievous. She gets stabbed. Oh well, I guess by Grievous, but it was during this elevator shaft scene thing that they're trying to protect the senator from. That leads literally into episode 3, which, whatever, doesn't matter, or it matters, but it really doesn't.
It strongly hints to it, but we never see it.
Okay.
We've never seen Shakti die.
Okay. Anyway, episode 3 starts with Chancellor Palpatine.
In one of my opinion, one of the coolest ways to start off the movie.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Actually, let's go back a little bit further. There's a fucking massive fight in space above the capital planet. That's an Avengers level threat right there for the galaxy, right? Like right before Grievous kidnaps the senator, thousands of CIS capital ships just flood the sky over Coruscant. Like that's a strat, right? That's the other thing too. Why is the capital planet a planet? Why would you have a capital planet in the first place? That means you're easily targeted. That planet is only going to be in one system. It's only going to be rotating around one fucking sun. It's not like it's mobile.
But the whole point was, yes, it is only on one planet, but it's usually heavily guarded on surrounding systems. The way they got ambushed is because I think it was Count Dooku who found a back door or a secret way that was previously undiscovered through the deep core, which is a very dangerous place to travel, which is like in the very center of the galaxy.
But as you see, it works out in episode 3 with the giant space fight, which is pretty cool. Like Walker says, it's fucking super cool. It's like the coolest way to start the movie, actually.
Except first, we see Anakin and Obi-Wan flying in Eta Actis class starfighters, which are like precursors to the TIE Fighter.
And it's like one of the coolest scenes in any of the movies, too.
Yeah, the whole first 20 minutes of the movie are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and then they're fighting through this thing, and they find the ship that Chancellor Palpatine is on. By the way, if you need to watch any of the Star Wars movies for the first 3, honestly, you can watch like a highlight reel of 1, skip 2 almost completely. Watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV show, and then watch episode 3, and you got basically everything that happened. That's basically it.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Because watching episode 2, you can do it. It's fine. It exists. You know, it's helpful to learn some certain things. But otherwise, not fucking worth it. It's so weirdly bad how much I used to love that movie as a kid, but hate it to hell now.
I still appreciate it, but yeah, it's still really bad.
Like I said, I love like some scenes in it, but everything else is kind of But episode 3 is really good, kind of. I think it's the best Star Wars movie.
Episode 3 is one of my personal favorite Star Wars movies. Even though I still think Episode 5 is the flat-out best Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back.
It's really good, but I don't agree. I actually like Episode 6 more than I like Episode 5.
Well, that's just your opinion, man.
I know. I'm like I said, I disagree. Episode 3 God, it could take an hour to really go over everything that's good about episode 3 and everything that it covers plot-wise. But there is, like, episode 3 starts with the stars fight scene. They find the planet, go in, or not the planet, but the ship that the Chancellor's on, go into it by blowing up the sides of this shield generator so they can fly in and not get repelled, or crash into the damn thing. They technically do make a crash landing. R2-D2, like, hooks up an elevator so that they can ascend upward to
an observation tower.
It's
not the bridge. It's an observation tower.
Yeah, which is somehow weirdly different.
And the bridge is like the very front of the ship, which is a bad design, in my opinion.
I don't disagree. I just don't get how their ships entirely function.
It's mostly for design-wise and look-wise for the big screen.
Gotcha.
Just to make it look visually appealing.
Okay. So then they get to the watchtower, and Count Dooku has Chancellor Palpatine sitting there in his chair, bound.
Very reminiscent of Episode 6.
He's like, it's a trap! And then
Count Dooku comes in right behind them with 2 super battle droids.
And then the super battle droids just die, right? They just fucking get wrecked.
They immediately get destroyed by Anakin and Obi-Wan.
And then Anakin and Obi-Wan, like... Anakin's working on freeing Palpatine, I think, actually. And then Obi-Wan's...
I think at first they start fighting each other, but then Count Dooku pushes Anakin away. Then Anakin starts to try and free Palpatine. Well, Count Dooku and Obi-Wan are fighting. Obi-Wan loses that fight, strangely.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, like, doesn't get wrecked immediately. It takes him a couple seconds, but he takes out the 2 battle droids, and then gets thrown to a wall, and then part of this, this weird observation deck thing just falls, like, Count Dooku just kind of slams it on top of him, and you would think, oh, now he's fucking paced. But no, he's fine.
No, he somehow survived that.
Force durability.
In a bit of rage or anger, but you don't really see it in him. Anakin just beats Count Dooku just like that.
Oh yeah, just wrecks his shit. Like
But at first, Anakin just wanted to take him hostage or the prisoner for the Republic.
Wait, Walker.
But
you're skipping some things.
Am I though?
Yeah, like you gotta go over it, man. Like this fight is really actually fucking good. Like he kicks his ass. And he Count Dooku's like, good, you've gotten stronger. And then Anakin's like, I've gotten stronger than you, and he's like, oh, ambitious too. And then he fucking gets his dick...
double the fall.
Yeah, that. Exactly. And then he just gets fucking handed to him. Fucking Anakin kicks his ass. Cuts off his fucking hands, which is like one of the...
Both of them.
Both of his hands. Which is one of the biggest signs of you're a disgrace to the Jedi. Oh, sure, you've unarmed me. But cutting off my arms, literally, disarming me, is like, oh, you're just a garbage person and you suck at fighting. It's such a dick, like a fucking slam your dick on the table kind of thing against somebody that you can do in Star Wars, apparently. It's one of the funny things, too.
It happens a lot.
And then Anakin gets Count Dooku's saber, and he fucking is like...
Holding them in like a scissor position.
Yeah. And then...
Just trying to get him to stop fighting.
And in the background, you just, you see Palpatine. He's just in there. Do it. Do it.
Kill him now. Do it.
He's too dangerous to be left alive. And that's where the fucking infamous meme, do it, comes from, actually, which is, unless you count the Shia LaBeouf one, which is garbage. So do it happens. Count Dooku gets his head chopped off. Easy. Count Dooku then is dead. They free Anakin. The ship... Or they free
They free
Palpatine. They start...
They rescue Obi-Wan. Well, he's still unconscious, by the way.
Right.
Meanwhile, as this is happening, the ship, which is also called a Providence, the class of the ship, is being broadsided by another Venator Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
Which almost completely disables it.
Yeah. It starts falling, they start falling down an elevator shaft, and then they fall into a trap set by Grievous somehow. where Grievous then takes them captive and brings them to the front of the ship, where he's like, "Good, more for the collection." And then...
Fine addition to my collection.
Yeah, and then he promptly loses those sabers back to Obi-Wan. Yeah, it was kind of anticlimactic there. 1 second, I'm copying an image I found on fucking... Here you go, Walker. You can enjoy this image.
Is it? Yeah. I've seen something like this before and I don't approve. However, accurate, but I don't approve.
So, he tries to execute them. Obviously, they get their sabers back. Had this small little mini fight with the droids. Fucking Dooku, not Dooku. Grievous breaks a hole open into the fucking literally outer space.
And he can kind of breathe in space.
He can't breathe in space. He just holds his breath. Goes up to a panel. Mind you, his feet are super fucking strong.
They're very strong, and I think they're also magnetic.
I don't think they're magnetic is the thing. I think
it's a bit of both.
I think you see the reason why he flies back to the ship is he just had a grappling hook.
He had a grappling hook.
But he just clings to the ship, climbs in, he's like, okay. By the way, General Grievous isn't a robot, he's a cyborg.
He gets in an escape pod and launches all of them.
Yeah. And then the ship starts falling into orbit. And one of the coolest scenes ever. You get to see Anakin through his full pilot, goddamn force-guided process. You see him save the ship, technically.
As they're falling, they try to slow it down, and then it just gets ripped in half.
We still have half of a ship.
We are still flying half a ship, says Obi-Wan.
And then they crash land. They're all alive. They save the Chancellor. Another happy landing.
Another happy landing.
Great quotes all around.
Ian McGregor, just a goddamn legend.
Yeah. Ewan McGregor and some parts of Anakin, almost all of
Christian Hayden is his name.
Yeah, thank you. All of Palpatine, I don't remember his name either.
I don't know.
But
Christian Hayden, he's an amazing actor. Don't get me wrong. It's just George Lucas is a terrible writer.
I think no.
Christian Hayden tried they all tried their absolute best in these movies. It's just they didn't get the best writing.
It wasn't writing, it was directing. So like the writing could be better.
George Lucas wrote these movies himself.
Yeah, but he also wrote the first three, which are fine. Or not the first three, but the 4 through 6, which are fine. They're good movies for the most part.
Those are good movies. It's just the prequels. I think he was rushed. He was rushed to doing them.
He wasn't. He was just okay. So where the first three the original 3 movies came out, he had help. He was still the director, but he had people intervening, making sure he didn't fuck up the movie. Episodes 1 through 3 are all him. They're all his direction.
That's right. It's just all George Lucas.
No offense to George. He's cool. He made, literally...
He's a great director. He is not a good writer.
No. Opposite order. Good writer, bad director.
I've been told it's the opposite.
I've mostly seen the opposite. That's what I'm saying, right?
We'll just say it's a bit of both.
Okay. That makes it easier. So then another happy landing happens. Anakin, after this, they have a meeting, and Anakin's like, I need a seat on the council because I'm having... He doesn't tell them this, but he's having nightmares about Padme... I was going to say anime dying.
He mostly pretty much asked to be a master or to do the trials because he beat Count Dooku, a Sith Lord at the time.
A real Sith Lord.
Not a Sith Lord, but one of the 2 Sith.
And, furthermore, he actually killed him, right? He fucking actually beat him. For certain beat him. Everyone at this point...
And rescued Chancellor Palpatine while all having Obi-Wan on his back unconscious for the first half of that.
Yeah, Anakin carried the entire first part of this movie.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
In some parts.
And then they're like, nah. We promoted...
We grant you a seat on the council, but you will not be granted the rank of Master Jedi,
which is
he
so
did not take lightly.
It is so scummy, honestly, because
It really is.
Because if you think about it, Anakin killed flat out. He destroyed a Sith flat out. Obi-Wan thought he did. They all found out that Darth Maul wasn't fucking dead by the end of it. They all knew. But he didn't get the fucking upgrade like Obi-Wan did. It's just unfair treatment because Anakin joined the council at an older age, so he was...
And they're really mostly afraid of his emotions will get the better of him.
Also, his power.
and he is far too strong than what he should be.
Although, I think at that point, before he gets the Sith upgrade, Yoda was still probably stronger than him.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yoda, of course, being the strongest Jedi there, and was the head of the Jedi Council up until Episode 3, like at least the later half of it, where he's like, I'm gonna hand... I think he hands over the council to Qui-Gon Jinn in that movie. Kind of, because he's like semi-planning on retiring, I think.
Maybe, I'm not sure exactly.
I recall this coming from somewhere, but I might be completely wrong. Of course, even then, he doesn't get to retire anyway, and shit happens. Obi-Wan is then sent to go hunt down General Grievous, which completely separate from...
To the Outer Rim, and I think the planet is called Utapau.
Yeah, you're right, it's Utapau.
Okay.
And he gets the coolest companion ever. I think it was one of the coolest goddamn animals in the movie. But
again, I think we're jumping a lot now.
No, because technically at this point in the movie, the plots completely diverge.
Okay, yeah.
So, Obi-Wan goes to Utapau, gets this stupid cool bird lizard. Fucking awesome dude. But on Utapau, he's like, I've come to investigate the CIS. And then this one dude who I think is of Darth Plagueis' race.
I don't know.
I don't know what Darth Plagueis' race is, but I've seen a lot of people
Plagueis was a member of the same race as the Banking Clan.
The what?
The Banking Clan, which the people who just control almost all of the money in the galaxy, essentially.
Oh, right, and that's how they get their power. Right.
And that's where the Republic get the credit in order to make their army. And same with the CIS. They're essentially a neutral party, but they're playing more towards the CIS, clearly.
Yeah, they tell him that Obi-Wan, or Grievous is on the planet and is waiting.
Grievous is here, but he's always watching.
Hello
Yeah.
there.
And then Obi-Wan jumps in on this meeting between the droids. Hello there! Which I just showed. And then
Kenobi.
promptly proceeds to wreck a bunch of battle guards. Magna guards.
He drops a mechanical thing on top of all of them.
He still wrecks
He
them.
manages to start crawl away, but he's immediately taken care of.
Exactly. Just instantly killed. It's funny as shit.
And a little anticlimactic, but still hilarious.
It's just funny, man. And then, which leads to this chase scene, kind of, where he starts fighting Obi-Wan at first.
Now,
Grievous does.
First off, General Grievous reveals that he has not regular 2 arms, but he has 4 arms, and is just going to go against Kenobi with 4 lightsabers.
That scene is one of the more, fucking...
It's a little silly, but at the same time, it's really cool.
It's so cool. Fucking Grievous is a goddamn... I think it's, one of the 3, coolest character designs in Star Wars. Even if it looks slightly
really
ridiculous.
One of the best designs.
Slightly ridiculous, slightly stupid. Who cares? The dude... 4 lightsabers, right? You think 2 dual-wielding lightsabers, which Anakin's Padawan does. Sure, that's cool. But what about 4? Holy fuck. There's another thing with the Old Republic that we should get to eventually where,
That should be its own different podcast.
Yeah, I think the Old Republic is something that you can go on for hours for. That's one thing.
I don't don't know much about the Old Republic as much as I do about the original 6 movies.
Okay. Then shit. What happens? Walker, go. What happens in the chase scene?
Okay, in the chase scene, well, right before it, Grievous manages to lose 2 of his arms or 2 of his hands.
Right.
Decides to crawl away to his what I think is one of the coolest bikes, which is just this big unicycle wheel that he sits in the middle of. It also has 4 legs that look similar to his own.
Walker, I'm gonna compare it to something real quick, and you're gonna hate it.
I'm ready about to hate it.
So you remember Jack Atlas's Duel Runner?
That's exactly where I thought you were gonna go with it.
Yeah, it's just Atlas's Duel Runner with legs. It does look cooler.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. I have an image of the Transformer toy of it, which I used to have.
I had the Transformer toy.
I had it too. I was so mad when it broke apart in like the first day of me having it though. I was so angry.
Then again, I also had the Millennium Falcon duo with Han Solo and Chewbacca.
We both had a lot of the same toys before we even met each other.
We really did.
Yeah. That was
Why
funny.
would you do this?
I just found General Grievous art, dude.
Why did you have to find another one that made it look so much worse?
I don't know, man.
The fact that it also has the lightsaber whip in there.
Oh, it does it? I didn't even see that.
It does.
Oh, I see it. Oh.
You can see 2 variants of the dark saber as well, and that pisses me off.
Well, no, one's from one's from what's that show called? Mandalorian. One's from Mandalorian. It's the whiter one.
It first showed off in the Clone Wars, then again in Rebels, then again at the end of the first season of Mandalorian.
Which everyone agrees is like the best Star Wars media that's come out in years.
That's come out of Disney.
Well, it's still years.
Specifically Disney. I still think the Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated TV show is better, but that's just my opinion. And I'm a little biased because I grew up on that.
We all grew up on it. But
yes, but I like the Clone Wars more.
Okay. Are we going to talk about the newest season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars though? Because that's made by Disney, and that's probably the best. Okay, towards the last half of it is the best
out of Disney, but Dave Filoni, who did all of the others, was still on top of that.
If you want to watch like the coolest animated fight scenes in all of fucking anything, really, go watch the last season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars and get to the last few episodes. Holy shit, the animation is top notch. There's like hardly any frames missing that you could say that could increase it. Like the choreography, it's all mocap. So it's all real fight. It's all just animated on top of it. So it's 100%
not just mocap, but the original actor who played
Darth Maul
in the first
is
movie
the Darth Maul.
Came back to do the mocap for this fight.
Yeah, and it's all done phenomenally. Holy shit. Dude, Dave Filoni and whoever gave him that much budget for it, good on them. They deserve a fucking Emmy for that shit, honestly. Like some fucking a Nobel Peace Prize, I could say, if I were stupid enough. But, like, damn, was it finally animated. And there's animation is like one of my key things. I love that shit. Watching their fucking frames and the animation style, it was just so good. Honestly, 10 out of 10. Anyway, fuck. Where were we? After... Oh, yeah. The chase scene happens. They fight again. Obi-Wan gets knocked off a ledge. And then pops back up and shoots Grievous in the chest. Bursts into flames. Grievous is kaput. He then hijacks his ship. Goes back to Coruscant. But that's where we're going to swap back to Anakin's story. Anakin's story... is he gets promoted but doesn't get super promoted like he wanted to be, and so he's looking for a whole other way to make sure Padme doesn't die. And in the meantime, he's been given the task to watch over Chancellor Palpatine, and Palpatine, because he has the Force, turns out, plot twist, he is a Sith.
No one saw that coming.
Nobody saw. To be fair, did you see it coming when you first watched the movie? I didn't see.
I was still too young to even understand what I was watching.
Same. I was 6.
remember the opening scene and being amazed by it.
I remember my parents told me when we came out of the movie, I was crying about what happens to Anakin. Because Anakin was like my favorite character. Yeah. Anyway, so what happens is Anakin is being manipulated by Palpatine, who turns out to be the Dark Lord of the Sith. There's always 2, which is at this point there's always 2, which is the Master and then the student.
2, it was Darth Plagueis to hide the Sith.
Right. But then, what's his name?
Be a Sith, right? He just didn't know it yet.
Yes and no. That's when his fight inside his head took place. Walker was just talking about how technically there is always 2 Sith, period. It's just like kind of weird sometimes. Like Count Dooku. Actually, there's a lot of times where it gets really fucked up, especially with Maul living. That technically makes 3 Sith. Although one's more of a Sith assassin.
No, when Maul died, that was pretty much him no longer being a Sith. He still has the Sith power. He's just himself is no longer a Sith.
I don't think
Palpatine tossed him aside essentially and immediately replaced him with Dooku.
I don't know if that's what I would count that as, but okay. Oh, bro, I found the spinning lightsaber for General Grievous. Remember that toy? Oh man, I asked for that thing for years for Christmas. So mad every year I didn't get it. Anyway, so yeah, look at that. Grievous versus Ahsoka. And Chancellor Palpatine manipulates Anakin into eventually becoming a Sith. This all culminates in the Jedi being told that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. And then Mace Windu, this blue dude, Kit Fisto, and this horned dude that I forgot who he was. It wasn't Plo Koon, because if it was...
pretty much brings 3 other Jedi Masters, and they all just lose.
3 of them do. Mace Windu actually fucking gets the upper hand, for certain, against Sidious, which is cool as fuck to see. Honestly, it was great. And then Anakin walks on in, he's like, stop, we need him. And then Mace... You cut out, but he's too dangerous to be kept alive, and then Anakin's like, no, and then cuts off his hand and shoves Mace Windu out a window, presumably killing him. There has not been any canon content to be like, no, he's not dead, but there is a YouTuber who goes by Star Wars Theory who's making his own fan movies, which people should fund and allow him to fund, because the first one was pretty good. But he's making his own fan movie where he doesn't die and just trying to get revenge on Anakin. Obviously, it doesn't work out well because the other movies have been made. But that's kind of the plot synopsis to those movies, but those aren't canon anyway. Lord Sidious, a.k.a. Chancellor Palpatine, which we're going to call Sidious from now on, then abducts Anakin into the Sith Society, which is just making him the Sith Lord known as Lord Vader. And that's that. There's that. And then Vader is Anakin. Anakin is no more. Anakin is Vader. And that's stupid. It's really stupid. Kind of. He doesn't really become Vader until he gets the full suit of armor. He's still having this weird inner monologue war with him on the inside. Kind of. But then, as First Order of Sidious, Anakin is told to go kill out the entirety of the Jedi Council that is on fucking Coruscant. So him with his Legion of the 501st come on in and fucking Fourth Reich the goddamn entirety of goddamn the Jedi Council. And it leads to the scene where these kids are in this room and they're like, Master Skywalker, they're all around, what should we do? And then Anakin just activates his lightsaber and it cuts away. And it's just told that Anakin kills a bunch of kids. A shit ton of kids. Also, simultaneously, while this is happening, Lord Sidious is given the Order of 66 to go kill all the fucking Jedi in the known systems, which goes off phenomenally. Plo Koon gets fucking blown out from his starcraft. Aayla Secura, like we said earlier, gets fucking murked. This one chick on a speeder bike, these two dudes that were following behind her just like slow down for 2 seconds and then blow her up. She's gone. What else happens in that, Walker? Who else dies in that? Oh, Kyondi Mundi! He just gets blown up on Kamino. He just gets fucking shot. And after Anakin kills all the Padawans and all the other Jedi that are still at the place, the Jedi Temple, Anakin is then sent to Mustafar to go and kill the rest of the remaining Separatists so that nobody's suspicious of what happens. And all the Separatists have been gathered on Mustafar, funny enough, by Grievous before he dies, so that they can be executed by General Sidious's new Padawan. If you watch the movie, it goes into way better detail and actually shows you what the fuck happens. But it's like, oh yeah, that's funny that they get sent to Mustafar just to get killed, so that his plan goes through, fulfilled perfectly. It's too good timing, if you ask me, just so that all the Separatists can fucking die. It's great. But then Anakin's sent to Mustafar to go kill them. It happens. They're fucking political leaders. They don't actually have any defense. It's like saying, oh man, Trump was sent to Korea to make a deal with no Secret Service guarding him for some reason, which that wouldn't happen in the first place. The Secret Service are kind of pretty good. And then he gets murdered by just a bunch of gangs, you know? That's it. It's kind of all that happens there. But the Separatists die. But in the meantime, Obi-Wan, back to him, comes back to Coruscant, doesn't get caught somehow. I don't really... Oh, no, it's because he's in Grievous's ship, but they don't understand that it's Obi-Wan. He makes it to he makes it to the thing. Yoda meets him there, because Yoda was on Kashyyyk, the Wookiee planet. I think that's Kashyyyk, right? Okay, cool. Thank you. So he was on Kashyyyk so that he didn't get killed, but he made it through a weird escape pod thing to Kashyyyk so he can make it back to the Jedi Temple too to try and defend it. Doesn't work out too well. 501st are everywhere. They kill a bunch of 501st. They break into the temple, look at the archive to see what's going on, and they see that Anakin's turned to the dark side and killed so many Jedi.
Anakin, now known as Darth Vader, kills so many Jedi and younglings, which is pretty dark in its own right.
Like, imagine Jesus coming down and being like, yeah, I had to murder a sect of people, and a lot of them are going to be kids. That's essentially what happened in that movie. Like, that's like the most blunt comparison, because he's supposed to be their savior for the Force. He's supposed to bring balance, and that sucks ass. Yeah, we noticed that there was too many light side users, so Jesus, am going to have to kill a bunch of children.
I must bring balance to the Force. There's too many light side and hardly any dark side.
To be fair, that's more of the Sith's
fault. Can't make too many dark sides, so better weed out the light side.
Right. But then, I think it all technically ends happily. Like, the entirety of the Force prophecy technically ends up happy. What happens next? So, what's his face? Okay, yeah, Obi-Wan then confronts Padme about Anakin killing a bunch of people. And she's like, no, that's not possible. I love him. And I'm pregnant. I can't really have my husband be a goddamn murderer, you know? It's not really good for my reputation either. Kind of really sucks. And so she goes off to confront him. I don't know how she knows he's on Mustafar, but she knows. So she goes to Mustafar, meets Anakin.
I think Anakin told her at one point.
That's a weird. Hey, honey.
That does sound weird, but I think he did tell her at one point.
Honey, where are you? Oh, you know, I'm on the lava moon. Excuse me?
Yeah, give me a quick second.
Yeah, it's Brandon. He's here. He then... What's his face? Shit, who is he? Fuck, I can't remember his name. His name. Oh. Yeah, Padme goes to go talk to Anakin. Obi-Wan sneaks onto her ship. Obi-Wan... Oh, they meet each other.
They have a quick conversation, then calls Padme a liar, and then Obi-Wan's right there.
And then Obi-Wan... Well, Anakin chokes out Padme, firstly.
Out of anger, because he thought she brought Obi-Wan, but she didn't. He snuck in.
Exactly. And then they fight. And then it's like...
This is one of the best fights in Star Wars, in my opinion.
In the movies, it's probably the best. I don't think there's a better actual...
Can say the Darth Maul fight was good.
Yeah, but I don't think
Maybe Luke and Darth Vader was a good one. The last one.
I don't think it's better than...
This one, Anakin and Obi-Wan, it is just visually amazing and emotionally great.
It's funny, too, because, like, in an interview that George Lucas was given, he's like, I didn't really have anything planned for this, so I just said that they fight for 30 minutes. And so they did.
And it was beautiful.
Simultaneously, while they're fighting, turns out, same bracket happens for Yoda and Lord Sidious. Except for it's way easier for Sidious. Sidious kind of just wrecks Yoda.
It was about half and half at first, but then Yoda was feeling old. And this is something he's not usually used to doing.
I feel old and now I die.
Or I at least fake my death.
Yeah, he faked his death, got to that same pod, and escaped Coruscant. That's kind of all that happens there. They,
He puts himself in the exile.
Yeah. But, before the exiling happens, Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, and Obi-Wan gets the high ground, and even though he's like 3 feet above him, beats the shit out of Anakin. Cuts off his arms that weren't already cut off by Count Dooku.
He cuts off, I think, a arm, and then
both legs.
Both legs below the knee, right above the knee.
Yeah. Just meaning he's lost all of his limb. He's now a quadriplegic. Well, not quadriplegic. Quad amputee.
He still has his robotic arm as this is happening.
Yeah, he does. But he's lost every actual organic
But he
limb.
lost all of his limbs, essentially, yeah.
And lets him get burnt alive. Obi-Wan then ditches Anakin.
Instead of deciding to finish him off, Obi-Wan just kind of throws down Anakin's lightsaber and just walks away.
No, he steals Anakin's lightsaber.
Alright, yeah, he steals Anakin's lightsaber and then walks away.
Because he has to give it to Luke.
Right.
You cut off my limbs. Let me burst into flames by fucking lava. We're on a lava planet. I am on fire. And then you're gonna steal my fucking laser sword? What a dick. What a dick.
Anakin did kill a bunch of children.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
I think that's a little justifiable.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. When you say that, Anakin killed 1,000 children easily. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it was 1,000 children, but he killed 1,000 Jedi.
Yeah. Still. Anyway, and then Sidious then comes by, picks up Anakin. They have a funeral for Padme, who has given birth to a twin set, Luke and Leia. And then Obi-Wan and Yoda talk, and they're like, okay, well, shit, what are we gonna do? They're like, Yoda's like, we must go into exile, but first, you must talk to your old master. And Obi-Wan's like, Qui-Gon? And then he's like, yes. And then, that's basically it. And then
Qui-Gon learned how to become a Force ghost and only kind of barely is able to do it.
Yeah, and then he taught...
He teaches Obi-Wan, then teaches Yoda, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Where they can learn how to become Force ghosts.
And then
at one point, Anakin is just able to.
I think it's because he's, the chosen one. That's basically it. That's all you really need to know. Anyway, fucking what's his fuck? Yeah, so then they go into exile. Obi-Wan goes to Tatooine, where...
He goes to Tatooine with Luke to try to hide Luke.
Not the greatest idea in hindsight, but it worked out.
It worked out at first.
What do you mean at first? It literally only worked out. Like, the only reason they left Tatooine was a call to action by Leia.
Oh, yes and no.
It
was mostly for Obi-Wan, but Luke tagged along.
Yeah. And then...
Now we're dipping into episode 4.
We don't really need to. I was just going to say, Luke goes to Tatooine with Obi-Wan, and Leia goes to Naboo?
Naboo with...
Bail Organa.
With Senator Organa, yeah.
Yeah. Which replaced Padme after she got fucking... She was too sad to go on. That's basically how they explained her death.
That is literally how it goes. She's just too sad to continue, and she dies.
Yeah.
Medically, she is fine, but emotionally, she's dead.
She dead inside. It's not fun.
She gave up the will to continue.
Pretty shitty, if you ask me.
It is one of my biggest problems with the movie.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just said she died from birth. Like, it happens still to this day. Yeah. People die from giving birth.
But no, actually, it's just she died because she's sad.
Yeah, nice. She like her hubby gone. She give up. I gave out my kids. That's all that matters. Hell, she probably could have died after Anakin choked her out and then got given a C-section to the kids, and the kids were revived then. That would have been funnier and a better story, because then Anakin would have really killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flat out lied to by Palpatine, which gave Vader rage toward Palpatine. Mm-hmm. Well, that's for another time.
No, because episode 3 ends with Vader getting his suit, his iconic suit, and asking where Padme is, rages out when he finds out she's dead, and then ends with them staring at the then first Death Star being fully built, or being partially built.
It starts off being built.
Yeah. And
also, the Venators, they do look a little better in flat Imperial gray, in my opinion.
Yeah. But that's basically it.
That's the first 3 episodes in a nutshell.
And that's actually pretty much the first 3 trilogy. The entirety of
like, I guarantee you we did miss a few things. We probably messed a few things up. But it's what
the issue is the entirety of the Clone Wars is probably what we're missing. And that is its own whole thing. It's so massively good and long that it's hard to really cover. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening for an hour and 24 minutes to this, if you did. But this is only the first of 3. So, fuck. Thank you and goodbye. Subscribe.
Y'all have a great day.